Hi, welcome to Kits at Roots. I'm Carolyn May, your garden coach, and I'm excited you're here to learn about sunchokes. Sunchokes are an amazing perennial vegetable. They are essentially a perennial sunflower. Their Latin name is Helianthus tuberosus. Why? Helianthus, same as your sunflower name, tuberosus because they make tubers. And those tubers are nutrient dense, really unique in their flavor, can be substituted for potatoes in most recipes, and they're really easy to grow. I came down to my garden today on this beautiful fall day to dig up some tubers so I can use them in some recipes in my kitchen. And while I'm here, I thought I'd bring my husband with me to record it so I could show you guys what's going on below the soil and teach you about this awesome vegetable. So let's get digging. Sunchokes are an incredibly easy to grow perennial vegetable. They're hardy in zones 3 to 8, which means pretty much everybody can grow them. Now, when you see something labeled as easy to grow, that can also mean that they can get out of control easily, be a nuisance, or in some places be invasive. So that's why I planted mine in this raised bed over here. I can control where they go, and they're not going to go anywhere I don't want them. Other than a raised bed, you can try grow bags, a large container, just something to corral them to make sure they only grow where you want them to grow. Or if you have a large property and are okay with sticking them in a corner and letting them just live, go for it. Just know that once you plant them, it's very difficult to completely get rid of them because all you need is a teeny tiny little tuber with an eye on it for it to grow into a full-size plant next season. As you can see, I'm digging very deep into the soil and I'm finding them way the heck down there. I only planted 9 tubers last May and they were planted about 3 inches deep. So you can see, they really do extend in every direction in the soil. The value of sunchokes, though, is pretty great because you plant just a few. Like I said, I planted 9, and I've harvested from 3 plants so far and have already gotten about 3.5 pounds of tubers that I'm going to be using in my kitchen. Like, how great is that? If you live in a place that does freeze hard over the winter, what you can do is harvest all of your sunchokes at once and then put them in a bin or container that has just a barely damp medium and store that in a dark, cool place. And that essentially will keep the sunchokes from drying out and they'll stay fresh all winter long. And then when the ground thaws in the spring, just pop them back in, probably, mid-April in most places after the hard frost. And yeah, they will grow for you all season long. There are a lot of great things I've learned about this plant, and I would love to share more of that with you. So check out my website. I'll have more on my blog with information about the plant, as well as links to recipes and ways to use this awesome vegetable. This was my first year growing sunchokes because as I'm building my gardens, I'm trying to bring in more perennial crops, not only to have them as a perennial in the garden, but for the soil fertility, having perennials in your garden means that you have a constant food source for the microbes and everything in your soil. So I love the idea of intercropping and doing a lot of the concepts you find in permaculture in my garden. In addition to the health benefits and culinary uses of sunchokes, they have other great uses as well. The stems dry out really well, great for fire starters. They get really tall in the garden, so they can act as a windbreak or even as a shade for some cooler season crops to give them a little protection from the summer heat. The flowers bloom in the late summer when a lot of other things are going dormant, thereby giving a nectar source and a wonderful habitat for the pollinators that you want in your garden. And not only are the flowers good for the pollinators, they're really great cut flowers. I did not get any flowers this year. Like I said, it's the first year, new soil, building my garden. I got buds, but right before they were starting to bloom, a windstorm came through and knocked a whole bunch of them over. And so because I was trying to save my crop, I pruned them all back and cut off all the buds. So I didn't get the benefit of the buds this year, but I still got the tuber harvest at the end of the season. Thanks for joining me in the garden today and learning about sunchokes. If you have more questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below and help me get this channel growing. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.